Hello, people. Welcome back to Step by Step Academy. Today, we'll be looking at how to change the subject of complex formula. Oh, don't mind the topic. Actually, the formulas are not complex, but they're a little bit more difficult than all the formulas we have looked at in the previous video. Now, number one, we have h is equal to m bracket v squared minus u squared over 2gx. We have to change the subject to v. Presently, the subject is h, and we have to change the subject to v. So remember what I told you, whenever your subject is involved in a fraction, as you can see, this is the v, it is involved in a fraction, and such that you have a single fraction on the left and a single fraction on the left and the right. We can make the left hand side a fraction by putting this over 1. Now, whenever your subject is involved in a fraction, such that you have a single fraction on the right and a single fraction on the left, what we do is cross multiply. So we cross multiply. Now, if we cross multiply 2gx here, will go to the left to multiply h. That will give us 2gx times h, that's 2gxh. 1 will go to the right to multiply this numerator. So 1 times m into bracket v squared minus u squared bracket close is still the same thing as m bracket v squared minus u squared. Now, the next thing we want to do here, the next step is when your subject is involved in a bracket, as you have it here now. Our subject is involved in a bracket. The next thing to do is to clear the bracket. So m times v squared is mv squared. M times u squared is mu squared. Now, take this. The next thing we have to do here is to move this term. You can see my subject now is here, and this term is being subtracted from my subject. The opposite of subtraction is addition. So to remove this term here that is beside my subject, what I will do is to add both sides, add mu squared to both sides. So I can say add mu squared to both sides. So also add mu squared to this side. Or better still, you can just simply say move this negative mu squared to the left. So if we move negative mu squared to the left, we are going to have 2gx h plus mu squared equals to mv squared. Now look at my subject. Don't forget, this is our target. We're targeting letter v, and now the v squared is multiplied to m. So we have to eliminate this m beside the v squared, and to do that, the opposite of multiplication is division. So to do that, we divide both sides by m. So divide this left hand side by m and divide this right hand side by m. And if we do that, m here will cancel this m. So we'll be left with v squared equal to 2gx plus mu squared over m. Now, we're almost getting there. Our v is not yet a subject because of this power of 2 on the v. So how do we eliminate these two? Very good. The inverse operation of power is root. So we take square root of both sides. So we take square root of v squared and square root of 2gx plus mu squared over m. Now, if you do square root of v squared, the square root will cancel the square. So you'll be left with v equal to square root of 2gxh plus mu squared over m. Boom! And that gives us v as our subject. Number 2, we have a equals to pi into bracket open r plus t squared, or t all squared minus r squared. Well, here we are to make r the subject. The present subject is a. We are to make r the subject. Now, if you look closely at this expression inside the bracket, you will see that the expression inside this bracket is what is known as difference of 2 squared. Difference between 2 squared. And whenever we factor difference between these squared, we are going to have a plus b. If you factorize this expression, a squared minus b squared, you will have a plus b, a minus b. A plus b, a minus b. Now, if we take this as our a, that's a squared, and we take this as our b, that will be b squared. It means that if this expression inside this bracket is factorized, we are going to have a plus b. Don't forget, a here now means r plus t. A means r plus t, while b means r. So if we factorize using this identity, this algebraic identity, if we apply the algebraic identity to be a plus b, that's r plus t plus r, which is what you have here, r plus t plus r in one bracket multiplied by r plus t minus r in the other bracket. That's a is r plus t minus r plus t plus r, because a is r plus t, b is r. Now if we do that, we can simplify the expression further. If we simplify the expression further, we're going to have r plus r. That will give us 2r plus t. So everything inside this bracket will be 2r plus t. Now if you look at this other bracket, r minus r, that's gone. So in this second bracket, we'll be left with only t. Now the next thing we want to do, remember when your subject is involved in a bracket, what you do is you clear the bracket. So t times 2r will give us t 2rt, and t times t will give us t squared. There's still a bracket to clear, so pi, we'll use pi again to clear this bracket. That's 2 pi rt times 2rt times pi, that will give us 2 pi rt, and pi times t squared will give you pi t squared. Don't forget this letter r is our target. Look at where our target is, and now where our target is, this term is added to it. So what do we do to eliminate this term? We'll move it over to the left hand side, or we can just say subtract pi t squared from both sides. So if I move this positive term to this left hand side to become negative, so I will have a minus pi t squared equal to 2 pi rt. Now to the next step, don't forget this is still our target. We're still trying to target letter letter r. Now look at the letter r here. Now we can see that the letter r now is being multiplied by 2 pi and t. So what do we do to eliminate the 2 pi and t surrounding the r? Very good. The opposite of multiplication is division. So we divide both sides by 2 pi t. 2 pi t. So divide this left hand side by 2 pi. Oh my, sorry, there's a mistake here. This should be 2 pi t. Please take note of that. There shouldn't be r here. We're dividing both sides by 2 pi t, not 2 pi rt. So divide both sides by 2 pi t. So 2 pi t divide the right hand side, 2 pi t divide the left hand side. Now if we divide this right hand side, 2 here will cancel 2, the pi will also cancel the pi, t will cancel t. So we left with a minus pi t squared all over 2 pi t. Please take note there is no r here. So the correct answer to this should be r equals to a minus pi t squared over 2 pi t. Now to number 3, we have q equals to p into bracket 1 plus r squared over 100. We are to make r the subject. Now this is the r we are trying to make the subject, is involved in a bracket. So what we do first here is to clear the bracket. P times 1 will give us p. P times r squared will give us pr squared over 100. Now don't forget, this is where our subject is. Our subject is in this term. Now we have this other term added to where our subject is, so we have to remove this term. And to remove this term, we'll move it over to the left hand side. That will be minus p. So we have q minus p is equal to pr squared over 100. Now look at your subject is involved in a fraction here. So what do we say? We said when your subject is involved in a fraction, what you do is cross multiply. So cross multiply. So if I cross this 100 to the left, I'm going to have 100 times open bracket q minus p equal to pr squared. We're gradually getting there. Now look at my subject, letter r is my target, and as you can see, it is being multiplied. The r squared is multiplying p. So to remove this p, we do division. So divide both sides by p. So if I divide both sides by p, the p here will cancel the p here. So I'll be left with r squared is equal to 100 open bracket q minus p all over p. Well, we're almost there. Now look at your r. It's not yet a subject because of this power of 2. To remove this power of 2 now, we do square root of both sides. So square root of r squared and square root of 100 into bracket q minus p over p. Square root of r squared will give you r, and square root of 100, square root of r will give you r. Therefore you have r is equal to square root of 100 open bracket q minus p over p, and that gives us the subject for r. Question number 4, or to make k the subject here, k, and look at where the k is. So first thing, remove this bracket. So if we remove the bracket here, we have t is equal to mu squared over k minus 5mg. Now this 5 mg, look at where my subject is. My subject is here, and this term now is being subtracted from my subject. So to remove this term, move it to the left hand side, or just say add 5 mg to both sides. So if we add 5 mg to both sides, I'll move this to this left hand side. We'll have t plus 5 mg is equal to mu squared over k. We're almost there. Now look at my subject. Now k is involved in a fraction, when your subject is involved in a fraction, what do you do again? You cross multiply. Very good. So we cross k to this side, we can put this over 1. So if we cross k to this side, we will have k into bracket. The k will multiply all of this expression. So we have k open bracket t plus 5mg is equal to mu squared. We're almost there. Now look at, this is my target. I'm trying to target letter k, and look at the letter k is being multiplied by this expression. So how do I remove this expression? I will do the opposite of multiplication, which is division. Very good. So we divide both sides by t plus 5mg. So divide both sides by t plus 5mg. Divide this by t plus 5mg, and also divide this by t plus 5mg. So this will cancel this. So we now have k is equal to mu squared over t plus 5mg. Now question 5. We have cx is equal to bx squared over e minus d4 or 4d. Here we are to make the subject x. Now please pay attention here. This type of subject or formula has to do with a quadratic expression. This is a quadratic equation. So this x term that we're trying to make, is the subject, is a quadratic term, because here you see this, it has a quadratic term. This is a quadratic term because of this x squared, and it also has a linear term. So that means this is a quadratic equation. Now the way you make subject, you get your subject from quadratic equation, is by applying the quadratic formula. This is the quadratic formula here. But before I go ahead to apply this quadratic formula to make x the subject, I'm going to first rearrange this equation in this form. Arrange the equation to be equal to 0. And when you are arranging the equation, the square term, that's the square term of your subject, must come first, followed by the linear term, that is the x term, and then followed by the term without x. So we arrange in that manner: bx squared over e first, then take this one here, that will be minus cx, then this will remain minus 4d, then equal to, since we have moved, the only term we have on the left is x, we have moved it here, so that means everything here will be equal to 0. So we have equal to 0. Now if everything here is equal to 0, generally this is the representation for all quadratic equations: ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. So it means that the a in this formula, the a in this quadratic formula, represent the coefficient of x squared. The b represent the coefficient of x, while c is the constant term. So now if we compare that here, that means that the coefficient of x squared here, which is our a is going to be equal to b over e, and our b will be equal to minus c, and our c will be equal to minus 4d. So now substitute all these things now into your quadratic formula. So this is the quadratic formula again. This is your quadratic formula. So we're substituting 1, 2, and 3 into this formula. Now b will become minus c. Look at, b is minus c. So the b here becomes minus c. Now the b again, that's minus c. B is minus c, so we have minus c all squared minus 4 times a. A is this, look at your a here, a is b over e. So you have minus 4 open bracket b over e times your c. Your c here, c is minus 4d. So our c here is minus 4d. Now simplify this expression further. Minus times minus will give us plus. So we have plus c, then plus or minus square root of, if you square negative c, square of negative c is c squared, plus, now multiply all of these, minus 4 times minus 4d times b over e. That will give you 16 bd over e. 16 bd over e all over 2 times a. That's 2 times a. Don't forget our a is b over e, so we're going to have 2b over e. 2b over e. So we have c plus or minus square root of c squared plus 16bd over e all over 2b over e. Now, what do you do when you have a fraction? Your fraction, that is division involved in your fraction, you turn the division to multiplication. So if we turn this, we turn the division here to multiplication, the e here will go up to multiply the numerator, then the 2b comes down. So we're going to have, so that means that eventually we're going to have the e here. The e here will go up to multiply. The e here go up to multiply this numerator. That will give us e open bracket c plus or minus square root of c squared plus 16bd over e, then divided by 2b. This, my friend, will be our final answer. So this is how you change the subject of complex formula. You can see that no matter how complex the formula is, the principles remain the same. Thank you, and see you in the next video. I'll drop the notes for this in the PDF note for this video in the description section below. Make sure to check it out. And also, if you have not subscribed to this channel, please, I'm pleading with you to please like this video, subscribe, and press the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I post any video. Thank you, and see you in the next class.